Okay, I would like to introduce Değer Demircan Acılıoğlu, who is a graduate of METU Department of Industrial Design, a graduate which we are really proud of. She has a lot of experience on in-house design practice. Arcelik, BSH, and Şişecam now. Great experience. Perhaps I sent your bio to the students, but you can maybe mention yourself, and you can start. If you like.
Okay, actually, what I will show today is my personal design, and then they all will be in-house design practices. So it will be something like a kind of portfolio presentation. But to be honest, it's also what I did in my career throughout 20+ years in in-house design departments. So welcome everyone. I was graduated in 2002, and then I started my master's again in METU, and I finished in 2005. So last year I took my 20-year award, medallion. It was very interesting for me. I feel like I just graduated a few years ago, but many years passed through. So yeah, I don't want to keep my presentation so long, but since I'm a little bit talkative and there are many things to talk about, please do not hesitate to ask your questions meanwhile I'm presenting. So, and I want to keep it like maybe 40 to 45 minutes, and then while I'm presenting on afterwards, we can, I will be happy to answer your questions. So please feel free. I just started, it works, so I will start sharing. Please confirm if you can see my screen. Yes. Can you see my screen? Yes. Yeah, okay. So just few pictures from my life. That she's my girl. She's almost 8 now, and I think it's one of the most magical creations a designer can do on earth. So I mean, having a child, I mean, observing a child getting grown up. So it's not only, no, it's not something biological from my side. I find it very, very interesting, full of curiosity and full of enjoyable times to see a child growing up. So I'm very happy about it. I was taking photographs long years. When I was in university, I was even given lectures about darkroom. At that time, there were dark rooms. I guess your generation has never seen those, but we had manual cameras. We were printing them in dark rooms with projection machines, blah, blah. So it was very interesting trials and another design and creation in thing. And this very ugly girl is my cat. She is now sleeping. And I adopted her just in the start of pandemic, and she's one of the largest and ugliest cats on earth, but I still love her. Just love her, you know, no need to find a reason. And I'm an advanced level tango dancer. I've been dancing for more than 10 years. To be honest, in the pandemic period, due to its very close body interaction, it was almost fully cancelled. All the tango nights were cancelled, so I didn't have a chance to go there. But nowadays they started again, so I started dancing again once more. So as I said, I have been working in in-house design departments for more than 20 years. And what is it like? a big question. It's not something easy to pack up in one sentence. That's why I didn't have chance to sum up in one page. But I just wanted to share what I did, so maybe this could at least give you an idea of what you may do in an in-house design experience in your future career. So starting with today's status, I am head of glassware design in Şecam today. And what I did here, or what I do here, we have 5 different departments in glassware design. I opened 2 of them. So before my attendance to the company, there were 3. So now we have 5 departments in glassware design department. And we are dealing with all the glassware products that Şecam is producing today, including the ones that you see in Paşabahçe stores, including the ones that you see in nude glass, and even in some customer projects, B2B projects. We produce a lot of designs that are not Paşabahçe branded, but some other brands. And in global, we are also very good in design and quality, especially in handmade products, hand blown, let's say. So these products are produced in Denizli factory, and we produce with our nude glass, mostly nude glass brand, and we produce a lot of customer projects over there. I saw with my eyes like very good pieces in global markets that we produce, but some other brands are selling over there. So what we do additionally, we do all the colors and decorations, secondary applications on top of glass, any kind of, the material looks like a very simple material, but it is not. It has a kind of character that you cannot easily shape every time. You need to know how it will behave. And there are many different opportunities with CMF, because secondary applications on top of glass is like, you can create many different things after that. So this is another very huge thing that I started when I came here, and we have SCMF and decoration and accessories design now. And we are also in charge of all the packaging design, which is almost half of the theme, because when you have more than 6,000 designs in your portfolio, you have at around 20,000 packagings in the portfolio. Because these are like packed in different pieces, sometimes pack of 4, sometimes pack of 6, sometimes pack of 12, sometimes different sets are packed in the same packaging, blah, blah. So once you have a design, you have several designs of packagings accordingly. It's a huge, very, very huge and complex world. And it's also, there are different types of packaging, like low quality packaging that you use in B2B channels, or high quality packagings you use in handmade production that are very, very precious. And so even the packaging are handmade. So it's like a very, very different but parallel to the quality of the product. And again, one of the departments that I established when I came here is user experience and prototyping. Now we are also prototyping what we are doing, what we design. Not all, but the ones that we focus a lot. And we initiate user experience testings, design acceptance testings, and several testings out of our designs to understand the insights, the pain points, the user journeys, what we will create has some effects on the consumer journey, so we need to be aware of it. That's why we are monitoring it. So just few pages, as I said, I want you to at least imagine what we are doing while we are working in Şecam, or I am working in Şecam. One maybe sincere confession must be like, I'm not designing anymore. I want to do so a lot. But if I design, I feel personal. This is a personal choice. I'm managing more than 26 person now. And if I design, I will start competing with their designs, and I don't prefer to do so. So this is a principal selection that I did in the beginning. I said, okay, now for a while, I'm just pausing my design activities. I will just manage the activities and support. That's why I have many different images and designs in my mind, but I don't do anymore for a while, let's say. So in nude glass, we are designing many different glassware pieces from crystalline. And this is in-house design. It is very, very interesting. And to be honest, this is one of the hardest part of design processes in-house, because we are working with different designer corporations here. We have more than 40 designer corporations globally. Each year we are starting new corporations or going on with new models with these designers that we already have a contact. So this is something we have to manage psychologically, and even in the, how can I say, in the perception, we have to make a good balance that from designers' point of view, the in-house designers need to understand that they are making good designs, but also company and brand needs to make some designer cooperations. So, and my role is to balance the feelings over there and make the empathy each party. So most of the designer cooperations are laying on or let's say standing on top of the talents and the environment and sometimes the fame of the designer. So if it is a celebrity designer, it's not a design topic anymore. It is a kind of brand cooperation. I will show later on. We cooperated with Ron Arad and even Iris Apfel, and these were like brand cooperations apart from or beyond design. But in designer cooperations, you also look for some taste, some styles, so you can mix your portfolio with different styles. That's the core reason. And what I do most of the times is like I tell to the designer teams, in-house teams, that this is not because you design something less beautiful. This is because these are different paths. So this nude part is also very precious pieces we produce here. So it's a very interesting part of design communication also, and takes a lot of time, to be honest. I mean, at the end of these design cooperations, we design just pieces sometimes after several years cooperation, but these are very precious pieces. For example, this decanter in that Ron Arad designed is something like, I don't know if any other glassware company on earth can produce it, but it takes almost 1 day for just one piece to produce. So it's very, very, very hard production. Very advanced level, and that's why it's very expensive, but it's a piece of art at the end. So it is one of the core reasons that we chose Ron Arad to make something piece of art over there, not even piece of design. And one of the, I think, most lovely and interesting and iconic things we did together with nude glass was designed with Ali Bakova, and this Memento Mori series is still very iconic from my side. So you see, these are glassware pieces, yeah, but has very iconic shapes, very, very, has some messages over there. So it's not something focusing on a function. It's focusing on design and even the PR of design, let's say, sometimes. And we also cooperated with Defne and Forno Fantasma, which is one of the interesting, I think, projects we did together, because they played with the surface, so, and the coatings and the paintings, and so the outcome of this play was very lovely, I believe. And we also cooperated with Thomas and Pentagon with several different projects. These are the most iconic ones here. That parrot is like, you know, it's a parrot at the end. So the Thomas abstracted a theme towards the glassware. So what I do here is like I cooperate all these cooperations. I find all the designers, and with the we created the projects and briefings together with portfolio management, and we manage the cooperations with designers. Sometimes it's not that easy. Some designers are not easy to reach. Some designers are like, for example, like the right-hand side here, this vase. It was designed by an African woman designer that we were trying to make a group of designs working in cooperation with African woman designers. But what I found out at the end is like the designers that we can each in through a global network are sometimes male, most of the times. And most of the times they live in Europe instead of Africa. So they have this taste, African taste, sure, but the idea of, you know, supporting African design doesn't work in that sense. So it's not that sometimes that easy. And but we are pushing forward anyhow. And we are trying to find some alternative customers of these products. Sometimes if it doesn't work here, we could not make a group of products. We could just make this product only, because we could have chance to find only to work with one designer over there. So we push this product towards global B2B projects. Anyhow, we found some opportunity for the product. This is brand designer cooperations. As I said, Iris Apfel cooperation is more than a PR and communication cooperation than design. At the end, in this level, it is you have to invest a lot, and you don't invest in the design, you invest in the brand of the designer. So that's why it's anyhow in that level, it is a brand cooperation than design. And these are the packagings that I told you that in the beginning about the packaging, handmade packaging. These crystalline pieces are very precious, and we don't produce so high numbers. It's a mass production, yes, still, but not something like 200,000 pieces. So in this level of price and brand positioning and design positioning, you have to also work a lot on packaging design and the material and the surface finishing and the details over there. So it's it's a complementary part of the design, because it's, imagine yourself, for example, this nude series, nude wedding champagne set is just launched in this February in Ambiente in Frankfurt. And this set was designed for a couple for their wedding day, wedding ceremony. So they will drink champagne together. And we spend a lot of time on also the story, the concept of the packaging, not only the product itself, but also the concept. We prepared koi fish over there, because koi fish always live in couples. They live together, they are not alone, so they support each other. So there are some even hidden cards in the packaging. So many different details that we embedded in the design that is supporting the concept of the product as well. It is not only a handmade, very, very high quality, very thin design of glassware, but also if you buy this as a set for a present for your best friend, you know they will even love it when they first see the packaging even. So this is the level of design and packaging in this portfolio, let's say. So we have more than 40 design awards, and we are applying or having new awards every year in different categories. To be honest, due to the pandemic, the glassware and most of the business fields were not very busy. You know, you had little chance to find out what you will see the next year. So, and for us also glassware is one of the largest business fields that is working very hardly together with HoReCa, we call it, like hotels, restaurants, cafes, this kind of social environment and touristic environment. And in pandemic period, this was almost closed. So we could not have chance to foresee what will come. That's why last year we did not design a lot of things. But yeah, we start again, and with this lovely theme, we will go on our designs in the upcoming years. And I will switch to the BSH projects, which are due on my own. So if you have any questions till now about glassware or about my experiences, I'm very open. Maybe this could be a small slot to reply the questions, if there is any.
Can I ask something?
Sure.
Maybe you already mentioned it, but I missed it. Are you also designing the cartoon packaging of the glass?
Yeah.
The jam, I mean, or another firm?
No, we are designing.
Okay. Do you
We are
have any
designing.
graphic design birimi? Or
Yeah, we have we almost half of our team, less than half of our team is a packaging design team. And packaging design team has two sub teams. One team is the structural part, which is designing the cutout drawing, we call it. Bıçak kesimi, bıçak çizimi, which is the structural solution that you make throughout a 2D corrugated paper. You make it with your design, with your folding lines, with your cutout lines. You make it at the end a packaging. So this is a structural design of the packaging. We also have it. And the second sub team in packaging is the graphical part. This is also very complex. We took the photographies, we create the brand design layout. For example, nowadays we are working a lot on Paşabahçe brand design layout. And then this team creates the graphics that will be printed on top of the structure. And then these are produced in one of our factories. We have a factory in Istanbul, in Kocaeli, that is producing the packaging. And almost maybe 80% of our glassware packaging is provided by this factory, but some other suppliers are also available. So yeah, we are producing the packaging as well.
Okay, thank you.
No problem. Any other question? Come on. Any question? No. Okay. So I'm going on. You can still ask some questions later on. So don't hesitate. What I did previously, I established the Region Design Department in BSH, Bosch Siemens Hausgeräte. Region Emerging Markets Headquarter, which was in Istanbul. Luckily very close to my house. Now the new office of Şişecam is very far away. It's a pity. But what I did in BSH has several different brands. And in in-house design teams, you need to cooperate with very different, even internal designers, with very different characteristics and working styles. And I can say that, for example, for BSH company, they have hundreds of designers, several hundreds of designers, in-house designers. They are grouped in brand design teams. Like there is a Bosch brand design team, there's a Siemens brand design team, there is a Carrier, they call it, but you can attach to Profilo design team. There is a NEF design team, there is a Gaggenau design team, there is a small domestic appliances design team, blah, blah. So it's also a little bit messed up because in some cases they are in brand design, in some cases they are grouped as like small domestic appliances, not only brands. So it's not that easy to understand. And what I did here is I entered the company and the day I entered, I started several different projects at the same time in all categories, in all brands. And after a while, I established the design department over there. And this is one of the designs that I did together in cooperation with Siemens design team, for sure, in global. And we produced the first ceramic door produced in Turkey here in that cooperation. And I also both designed and lead a design project over there, because this project was covering a lot of different regions and markets, including Europe markets, including African market, including Middle East market, including even some China markets. So it was a very complex thing, because the stakeholders of the project is like hundreds of people. You have to consolidate their preferences, and you have to collect their decisions. You have to send samples, for example, to several different locations for approval, blah, blah. So it's really, it takes a while. It takes a huge time to even just manage the design part of the project. And I visited China for this project, and it was also very interesting to find out how they work and how different it is and how you need to integrate it to your company. So all these design management assets are needed while you are working in in-house design. And this was another interesting topic that, again, we cooperated a lot. This neoclassic series, rustic, or you can also call it, are very popular in Russia. Easy to guess. But the part is that sometimes your brand, like Bosch, is not fitting very well with that kind of style. But still you have to create a solution, because the market is demanding that kind of design. The market taste is different than the very European, very German design language of Bosch. So I had to find an in-between solution. So I proposed several solutions, and design team in Munich proposed several solutions, and we combined all these with the realities that we can apply. Because if you have a design and it is not easy to execute, sorry for you, you cannot execute it. You have to also execute with all the stakeholders, or all the suppliers, for example, the supplier of the mop needs to produce the color you propose, and supplier of the knob ring is different, and they have to produce the same color as well. And even the supplier of the alarm clock over there is different. So you have to connect all these pieces in the same page. I did my best. And this is another project. I think it's very interesting experience for me. It was very interesting experience for me, because it was an agile project. It was managed with an agile process. And what we did in that agile process, is different in what we do in daily times. We cooperated a lot. We came together physically a lot. This is produced in this series. It's a large series. I'm just placing the most iconic one here. This large series was to be produced in Çerkezköy, Tekirdağ. And there's a factory over there. And we needed to go and physically attend the meetings over there. And because we have a very strict timeline, we have to create some proposals within very strict timelines so we can keep the season to sell. You know, there is a seasonal situation, how can I say, seasonal demand in all business fields. And in white goods, there is a seasonal demand that, for example, when couples get married, most often in spring and summer, so you have to catch up this to launch your products. If you launch your products in winter time, it's okay, but it's little early or little late. So it's and the core reason behind is all the stores has limited places to display products. So if they have limited places to display products, if it is a Bosch store or if it is a MediaMarkt store or if it is a Paşabahçe store, doesn't matter. They have very limited place to display your products, and you have to display the product that will sell best, so the company will make profit out of it. That's why we always try to place the correct product on the correct season, because then if this product will not be sold on high qualities, then you're not using your display chance in the best way, you know. And at the end, it's an industry, it's a business. You have to make the business work, and you have to make all your decisions accordingly. And we had, coming back to Scrum and Agile story, we had a very limited time here that we have to apply and make all these design decisions in a very limited time. And we even sometimes, some days, we had a mock-up of refrigerator lying on the floor. We were cutting it down and, you know, standing it up and looking at, again, cutting it down like this way. Because what we were looking for is the separation of freezer and fridge, the fresh food part. Because this is something specific to Africa, and African people has different habits of cooking, has different habits of buying fresh food from bazaar. And since it is very hot over there, they store a lot of things in the freezer. That's why freezer is relatively larger compared to our countries, sorry. So we have to find the best fit. If it is half-half, why not? Blah, blah. There were many different things around. And we made a proposal. Then this proposal came out as a product, and it was tested in Africa, in consumers, and then it was approved, and then we launched it. It takes a lot of time. So what I did over there, I also started trend researches that we were, I think our design team in region was also, from my feeling, I know, I set that target to our team that we need to propose our trends, because our trends may be different than European trends, may be different than USA trends, United Kingdom trends, because our region has different world of goods, and we need to understand and share this, and we need to align our projects accordingly and color proposals accordingly. So this is why we were making some trend researches as well. This was one of the interesting projects that I did over there. Again, it was Scrum, an Agile project that I did. It was an off-grid chiller that was a kind of social support project, let's say, that Bosch was trying to launch in Africa. And it was very interesting project because I had no idea what they live over there. Now they live in a very like 50 degrees Celsius hot climate. I had no idea how to live in it. And there is a story behind that. For example, a consumer over there needs to go to bazaar. And if he is living in a rural area that there's no electricity, they don't have a refrigerator. They have a kind of house with a mold, you know, and they have no electricity, no light, nothing. They just have some water in one of the water sources in the village. They don't have water even in their house. And they have to feed their family. What they do, they find several different, like 4 or 5 different vehicles to reach to the bazaar. Find one vehicle, then find another one. It takes several hours, like 4 hours in general. And then they bought the fresh food over there. It's extremely hot, and they bring these fresh food back. And in the way back to home, again 4 hours is spent. And this green fresh food is almost died when they arrive at their house. So that was a big pity because there's a huge effort behind it, and at the end you just have few things in your hands still. And we tried to create something that they can keep this fresh food little fresh still over there. And before this project, for example, there was a huge, again, testing and research, field surges. And we tried to do our best. To be honest, this was very expensive for the market. And that was the core reason we didn't have chance to sell it a lot. But, you know, I was very surprised when I see the need over there. It was like very big need. So very interesting project that I did. And yeah, I will switch to another period of time that I worked in-house designer. But before going on, I want to ask if you have any questions. No questions? Okay, so just few pages. Okay, I'm on time. I shared several different, so I did several different guidelines when I was in Arcelik group in headquarter. I did, this was one of the largest guidelines I did together with Fitch. And Fitch is a very large, one of the largest retail design companies based in UK. Later on, they also got married with Landor. It was another very big retail design company based in London as well. So it was very interesting that two largest companies in retail design world got married. And anyhow, we worked on these very detailed several types of shop-in-shop stands, and the idea was to design the stand here, not the product. I was designing the stands, and I needed to design how they will, how many pieces we have, and how they will communicate, what kind of lighting details they will have, what kind of surface patterns they will have, blah blah. So it was a huge project. This is, for example, a Hungary shop-in-shop zone that this project was applied. Shop-in-shop means that, for example, whenever you go to MediaMarkt, you see some zones. Samsung, LG, Bosch, some zones that are branded with, and these brands products are displayed within that branded area. This is shop-in-shop. So, and in Turkey, we have stores in white goods, but in global area, most of the companies are displayed in shop-in-shops, in chain markets. So this is a very huge display system that is commonly used in globals. So we also designed the office of Paris in Beko headquarter in Paris. So it was similar to fairs, but little bit different than them. And I also updated the retail stores of Arcelik and Beko at that time, the previous design. The original design was left-hand side, and I switched it to right-hand side version. So there are many different updates like that, but these are just some samples. I also designed the show windows that seasonally we change these windows according to the campaigns. I initiated styling in the stores, and after I left the company, the new styling and design came in. One of the interesting things that I did was I was managing the fair design projects. I am not fully sure, but I guess these are the largest meter square projects in Turkey. These are very, very, very large. 2,600 meters square is larger than a football area, so it's very big. And millions of euros of budget, and you have to cooperate with several different companies you have to manage, and you have to take the brief from marketing and brand and find the correct agencies, make a pitch, and then you have to organize everything fits well with the brief, and everything looks well in design and high quality in design. And so it's a very big project. It's not only design for sure, it's like an event organization as well, but you have to do everything in a design way of thinking, fitting well and in a high quality level. And that was also interesting that this is the last fairground we did in the company with previous Beko logo. And I worked with Patricia Urquiola, design team, to create this fair design for us. So everything was a challenge, you know, that whenever you work with a design team, you have to find the good solutions for their expectations, and sometimes they expect something unrealistic. You have to convince them without breaking their hearts. It's a big thing to create the balance in between. And this is the first design, booth design that I did. There were clouds flying on top, LED screens and trees, Mediterranean trees in-house. And it was like stand of the day over there. And it was the first project that was done in that high quality design cooperations in the company. And it was also very enjoyable and interesting for me. Like you see several different zones, hero zones. You have to communicate about the products, about their terms. There are hundreds of products. You have to collect them in different groups. So make some, the communication agency can create some communication terms around them. A little bit tricky. So I'm coming to the last part. Any questions? Nope. Okay. Are you so bored or sleeping or okay?
Hocam, it's good. Thank you.
Okay.
Hocam, can I ask something
Okay.
about
Sure.
the retail and fair projects
Sure. Go
designs?
for it.
I mean, they were quite different compared to other electronics you designed.
Mm-hmm.
Did you like the process of designing such, I don't know, 2D things, or do you I mean, which was better? I couldn't.
Yeah, I got I got the point actually. Let me answer. What I did over there is like you are a communication and project manager in this kind of things, because I was working with agencies most of the times that I was briefing or sometimes giving the design draft to them. I was not making the final technical drawings. I was not making the renderings, but I was managing the scenes and the agencies, and I was managing the budget, and I need to understand the need of the demand side. If who is the demand depends. So most of the times it's marketing teams, and I needed to create the best design out of it together with my partner agencies. So it's not that easy to compare different, for example, this is not an industrial design most of the times. This is like a boutique design that you will make a fair stand, you will use it only once. So it's not an industrial design, but it's design still. It's an interior design mostly. So, and a design project management mostly. And so it is not, it is not my core profession. But I believe that this kind of project management, design project management, let's call it, teaches a lot. Because whenever you're in the designer chair, you are always creating, trying to find some solutions. But you know, when you change your chair, whenever you switch to the managing part of this design project, then you start understanding and creating empathy with all parties. And it is very interesting part of it, because I believe sometimes designers could ignore other stakeholders' expectations. Just focus on their expectations, their perfect designs. But design project management is always aiming the project done. Not the best, but done. So not the fastest again, but in the best way. So changing the chair, changing the hat is teaching a lot. That's what I felt and what I can say. But since in my core business, I am still product designer, I switched back. I took my experience, I took my learnings, placed them in my pocket, improved myself, enlarged my scale, and I switched. So, but it's again a kind of preference, a personal preference as well, you know. You can work in a retail design agency, a fair design agency. It's still a choice for designers, luckily. Or you can prefer designing in a UX digital world. That's another choice. You know, there are several scales and mediums of design today. So not an easy question. I hope I could reply it.
Since you said talked about changing the chair and hat, I also had another question which I was gonna ask at the end, but since you mentioned it, I mean, for the majority of your career, you worked with electronic good companies. What made you change to a different sector, like glassware design?
I can say that, yeah, I'm very experienced in household appliances, but household appliances is a very, very complicated technology business field, especially now. I believe that in the future, household appliances will be just lost over there, you know, just integrated to the furniture, integrated to the services that we buy through or pay through IoT things. And then it will be just a functional part of something over there, I believe. This is also very, very interesting that I can still take part in this journey. But for glassware, I can say that what I showed here is solely like a design. It's When I was interviewing for glassware, I said that, you know, a glass and a glass, and there is no functional difference. These are both glasses, and the only difference over there is the design. So it's really, the design is in the core of glassware business, and this challenge, it was a challenge for me, to be honest, after working on a high-tech product business field for 18 years. It was a challenge for me because I was always thinking the consumer and the function, and if the function will work in the expected way, blah, blah. Because whenever you are opening a refrigerator, the handle must work enough. You know, it must not be so big, so thin. There are many different things in the ergonomy you can consider. It's very, very complex, but also many different data you can check. But in glassware, nothing, just design. So that is a big challenge for me. But I embraced the challenge. I love challenge. So I said, let's go for it, because I think what I learned from this consumer and product relation in interaction in household appliances helps me a lot while working in glassware, because in glassware glass is something that has been produced maybe for the last 1,000 years in the same way. You cannot that easily improve it. You can just change the chemical little bit, that's all. But you have to still heat the material to minimum 1,200 degrees Celsius to shape it. So it's a big, very conservative area that you cannot really easily design, but you have to design, because apart from design, there is nothing to differentiate yourself. And I find it very challenging, and I embrace with the challenge, I guess.
Thank you, Hocam.
Okay.
Hocam, I can ask something.
Sure, go for it.
At BSH project, there were focus markets, and I wonder which departments are deciding on these focus markets, and where is what is the steps, research steps, and also designing steps or marketing steps. Who is deciding, and how is the process about market?
Mm-hmm. In BSH company, in most of the in-house companies, it's in-house design teams in global companies, and you have to work with several different departments, and at the end of the day, these decisions are done in a cooperated, within cooperation of several different departments, let's say it. For example, in this side-by-side, we started, when we started this project, REM, Region Emerging Markets, was planning to lead the project, because we were planning to make this project especially for Iran. But then what happened? While we were working on the project, which takes several months, we were working on the project with some suppliers, with some marketeers. Suddenly, Iran was out of scope due to the America, USA sanctions. Iran Bazaar was suddenly closed, and we have been working on the project more than 1 year when it happened. It was fully announced that we cannot sell any single item in Iran anymore. But we improved a lot, improved our time. You know, we invested several things, several malls, and then we had to find another solution to make the project live. Then marketeers asked to the other regions if they will be interested in this kind of products. And then after several discussions, they said, okay, we can be also interested because this price level is good and the design is good, blah, blah. And then again, the consolidated numbers come to level that will be good enough to invest more for it, then now the products are also available in Europe, for example, because Iran is closed. So sometimes you start with something very specific, but you end with something different. And marketeers are making this decision. But it depends on the project. For example, this project is directly focusing on African, even Kenya and Nigeria climate. This product is fitting with Kenya and Nigeria climate. If you use this product here, it doesn't work because the humidity level is very high. But in Kenya, humidity level is very low, and you need to pour 1.2 liters of water with this product. There are two walls and there is an insulation visco material in between. And if you make this visco material wet with water, then while the vaporizing happens, the in-house container gets cooler. That's the idea. And you cannot apply it everywhere. Sorry, it doesn't work. So in this project, even though we know it is very expensive for the market, we will not sell enough. We had to go for it. No way out. So it was like, depending on the project, the brands marketeers are making this decision. And I can always say that if a company has the team in the company which has profit and loss, P&L, we call it in short. The department who has the P&L is in charge of design brief. Because what I do will be sold by them and they will report to the top management if it was profitable or not. So they have to be sure if it is the correct design for the correct market, for the correct brand, whatever it is. So I can easily say that to you, if you are going to a company and making, for example, an interview, always ask for the questions. Who has the P&L, profit and loss? This is the owner of the project. Because I can say that sometimes there are so many stakeholders and you are lost in between. Who is the owner? Who is the decision maker? No one knows sometimes. Really, I entered some meetings, more than hundreds of people, and no one knows who is making the decision. We just discuss. So, but just consider and pay attention to the department who has profit and loss. If they have to report to the top management for their profits, they are in charge. So, marketeers, most of the times, profit and loss is in their responsibility, and they have to clarify the markets accordingly. If that is, I hope, okay for your question.
Yes, thank you.
Can I add?
And also one project took my attention with Iris Affair, because I watched her documentary and also I searched about her. Definitely an icon. And how was that project? How this collaboration starts? I just wondered.
Good question. It is with as I said, it was a kind of PR project, and it was before I entered the company. I was not there. Sorry, I cannot share my personal experience. But as far as I know, it was a PR company and it has a limited time that you can use her name for 1.5 years, blah, blah. Nowadays, the time is over and we cannot use her name anymore. But it was a fully PR project, I can say.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, now can I ask something?
Sure, go for it.
It's kind of a little bit personal, a question actually, but I'm now doing my graduation project with Love, and I'm working on glassware this time. And I want to ask that there's a lot of different ways that I need to focus on, like packaging or the family component, that if I want to make a set, or production, which is really sometimes difficult if we are doing mass production in glassware. There's a lot of components I need to add, or I don't need to have them. So as a student working on it, where should I focus the most? Like, can you give me the advice? Because I'm student, so my project won't be probably like produced. So maybe I can go a little bit like not logical, like not production method wise logical, but what should I do? Where should I look at my project at that point?
Okay, so it's a little bit different out of the topic. But
No,
let
because
me
I want
give
to
you
ask
some.
you when you're talking about glass, but it was like got so
Okay,
fast. So
no, I mean,
that's why.
in-house design topic is different, but still,
Huh.
sure, I'm very okay to reply. For sure, it's a very nice conversation. And to be honest, I'm not fully sure how you were briefed on your project. There may be many different focuses of the brief. I mean, if the brief focuses on the family look and automated production of glassware, sure, these are the keywords you have to keep in all pieces, all of your design pieces. But if you want to make something iconic and something more hand-blown than automated production, because the production in glassware also is the core reason that you can create or cannot create different forms. And there are more than 20 different production methods in-house in Paşabahçe for automated glassware. So sometimes, for example, for the stem of the glassware, you just stick it. Sometimes you just stick piece of glass and extend it. Sometimes there are different ways that they stick in hot production. Sometimes they stick in cold production, and they all have different visual effects and different opportunities and limits. So many different things. And I can personally, I mean, sure, there are different ways out of it. You can, this is your personal choice. First scenario, you can go for a very producible thing, but it's not that easy to differentiate your design when you go for very producible, easy to produce design, because almost all designs are done already. So it's a little bit tricky. But if you go for something looking like handmade, or maybe directly handmade production, you can try many different things. So if you are not briefed to go for an automated production, I can kindly advise you to go for handmade and different piece of art looking like things. And I strictly, not strictly, how can I say, I deeply advise to work on CMF as well. Because a shiny, transparent glass is something you can find everywhere. But for example, this is a Hay design glass. You know, can you see the pattern out of it? I don't know if you can.
Yes.
Yeah, there's a kind of textile pattern around it. And we also have this mold that we 3D scanned the mold. It is not something that you can directly model in 3D world. Sometimes, for example, we create a shape, 3D scan, and then we create the design, because in some cases, what you want to do cannot be 3D modeled. So these kind of pattern and surface finishings make the glass very differentiated and very interesting, authentic. And if you have chance to go for this kind of direction, I kindly advise you to go for it.
Thank
But
you.
it depends on the brief.
Yeah, you know, brief is not that clear. That's why I'm asking, because it will be in my portfolio, of course. And I sometimes I can't choose. It should be like mind-blowing thing that is hardly produced. Like you said, one bottle is like produced in one day. It's so long time, so long process for glass. And so, or producible thing. I can't decide it yet, but thank you for your answer.
Anyhow, you have to know the production method, and whatever you do should be producible, but not, it doesn't have to be producible in, for example, this morning we had a meeting that we created a plate, and the order was 8 million. You know, just you create something and 8 million order is coming accordingly. Just whenever they see even the prototype of it, the acrylic prototype, they say, yeah, we love it, 8 million. You know, this is mass production. And the dynamics over there is completely different. But in handmade, still you have to be producible with handmade production methods, but it's a large area. So you can play around a lot in that area. I kindly advise you to go for it if you have a chance for it.
Thank you.
Okay. So any questions? You got talkative because it's very nice. Questions? No, I'm going on. You can still stop me anyhow. So this is the last part because this is my starting point of my career. So, but I think this is the most productive part because also another reason, core reason, I worked 8 years as a designer in Arcelik Group. And I worked a lot. I can say that if you are a designer, in-house or external, you work a lot. You know it in your education, I guess you already confronted with that reality. But designers need to think on all the details. And if your product has so many details, you don't have chance to ignore some. You have to control everything. So everything you do needs to be prototype, needs to be sometimes criticized very sharply, you know, that you have to restart and restart and restart. And everything you did must sometimes be applied to several other things, and you have to find the best way how to apply it. You know, here, there you see many different 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There are 5, even 6 with the hop. 6 different products here, and they are all in the same design line. And you have to think many different days how to make them look the same, because you know this is a coffee maker that is OEM, which means that another supplier is producing it for us, and we have to create all the design according to its limits. But still, I placed the handle here and I placed the design character over there, so I could still combine something. And this is again a hood. At that time, it was produced in a supplier again, and I had to make a balance with black and stainless steel and this line and blah blah. And these are different, like touch control panels, and even you know, there are many different things over there. You have to think at the end how it will look a family like. So I like the idea, the story of this project. Maybe I can give you some more insight about it before going on. Yeah, in this project, let's stay here, for example. In this project, I was, no, this is better. In this project, we were briefed that we needed and built in series. But at that time, it was like 18 years ago. At that time, Arçelik was producing its products not in family look, like you have one integrated cook here, oven here, one integrated dishwasher here, one hood over there, and everything is nice designs solely, but they are not in a family look. The family look means the color at that times. But then we said that we need to make something in a full portfolio match. So the consumer would love to have some more, even in exchange their goods at home to fit. So yeah, this is always a kind of marketing idea behind. And we were briefed this family look, and in-house designer created designers. As in-house designers, we created several design alternatives, and I created several design alternatives as well. And we worked with 4 different design agencies, like even Gigiaro was in-house here. I mean, Ümit Altun, blah, blah, very different large global and local agencies. So at the end, we had 26 different designs, and we said that we want to make a kind of blind selection. Because sometimes, you know, your audience has a kind of prejudge, an idea, and sometimes they think if it is Giugiaro design, then it must be very good. There is some good in it. Maybe I don't see it. Let me vote for it. So we want to prevent this prejudge, and we just make a blind selection in our stakeholders in the company, and we placed all the designs in the same way on a large wall, placed some numbers on top of it, and they voted. And then my design was selected. This design was selected due to several reasons, because it was easy to produce, it doesn't require so high invest, and it is still characteristic, blah blah. And so we did for it, and we created more than 120 pieces of this design and family look. And every year we updated the display and applied for some more design awards accordingly. So it was another chance that you can go for it. And very close to final. This is another interesting project that I want to talk about. This brief came to our in-house design, Arcelik in-house design department, as a plastic door refrigerator. And in one day night, I was working over hours in the studio, like with sleepless eyes, like, you know, trying to find the mouse and the pointer, blah blah, because I was not happy with the designs that I prepared for the other day selection, and I was trying to find something new. Then I said that, why plastic? Why not something different? I mean, if we are okay that we will not stick any magnet on top of the refrigerator, that was one of the pain points of the consumers. If we are okay with it, in plastic door, you cannot stick any magnet. We can be also okay for other things as well. And I used glass instead. And I placed glass, and these are very huge aluminum extrusion handles in both sides. They are in both sides because the handle direction can be different in each house, so it must be adjustable. That's why the handles are available in both sides. And I used this glass in the door. And the other day in the selection, the audience came, marketeers came, and the head of product management said that this was the only glass door refrigerator, again within several designs, and they said that, hey, why not? Why not? Then it was the first glass door refrigerator produced in Turkey. And now still they are updating it because these aluminum handles were extremely expensive. Then later on in the upcoming years, updated the design. The last design was done, I updated the design like in a way. This is the little bit thinner version of the handle, and later on it was even thinner after me. So it was another interesting story for me that sometimes you need to step out of the brief. Sometimes it works. And thank you. A huge sharing. So I'm done. If you have questions, I'm here for sure. Just my presentation is done. So yeah. Evren is shaking some hands. Sümeyye, these are the ones that I can see. Yeah, go for it.
Thank you, Değer. It was really valuable, great experience in 3 different sectors, 3 different companies. I mean, Şişe Cemal is much different in terms of material and products from others, but Arçelik and BSH are also very different. One of them is actually BSH is really German. So 3 really very different experiences. Thank you. And great work. Congratulations. Any other questions, arkadaşlar?
Yeah, if you have any questions, I'm happy to reply.
I saw some people raise the hands, but
Yeah, hands are gone. They shake hands and they're gone.
Yeah, they were clapping, I think. Alkışlıyorlardı.
Okay, that was clap. Okay,
Yeah.
I just raised hand. I thought, but it was clapping. Okay, you're. Thank you.
Maybe I can ask a question. You say that sometimes you don't understand who is making the decision. I mean, decision is actually made at the top management level, and you said, you know, the profit wins. Yes, that's very logical. But you know, as a designer, through time, you came into, you also, I mean, in Şişecam now came into a very decision-making position, didn't you? I mean, but then you said, I stopped designing. So is this should be always the way? I mean, sometimes I feel that some designers, they don't want to go to managerial positions because they want to still, you know, keep on designing. Can they do it both of it? I mean, is it possible?
Sure, it's possible for sure. It's a personal choice, to be honest, Hocam, because there were several reasons. First of all, I didn't know glass production very well when I went there, because I found it very interesting, but I was not fully in it. I worked by chance with household appliances that has a lot of glass content, glass pieces. I work with in built-in products, like they all have glass facade, and I even designed the first glass door refrigerator. You know, this is the coincidence at the end, but I worked with flat glass a lot, but I was not fully experienced in glassware, and this was one of the reasons that I needed to reserve some time for myself to learn more about it. And second reason was like, when I started working in Şişecam, I had a very experienced team. I need to manage a very experienced team, and I didn't want to, this is a personal choice. I didn't want to, you know, like a kind of ruling, you know. I just want to cooperate and understand and appreciate their experience. This is important because glass is something like very tricky. It's a very tricky material that, for example, in plastic injection, if you have the correct mold, if you have the correct design, you know what will come out of the mold. But in glass, it is not like that. You design something, and when it is produced, you have something different, because glass has a behavior in itself, because it is produced in very high temperatures, and after this production, still material works, and there's something happens, and you have to know what will happen after it is produced in the mold. So there's something that I could not foresee. That's why because my personal design expectations from myself is high, I didn't want to try and fail. I just wanted to keep myself learn, so now I can foresee what I can design, and what will come out from the mold will be very close to my design. Now I'm okay. But when I first started, I didn't prefer to go for it. But it's a personal preference for sure. I also appreciate that, because I'm a little bit sad that I don't design nowadays. But on the other side, I don't have time for it, to be honest. That's another reality I have to confront. So, but I never say that a designer must design or a design manager never designs. It's not something that's strict. It depends, I believe, and this was my preference at that time.
Thank you.
So, any other question?
Hocam, I have a question about your last experience. Like, you worked in BSH, and the electronic goods companies. Then you move to Şişecam, and you are making totally a different discipline. Maybe not totally different, but like you just said, it's a different material. Like you said, different manufacturing methods. How did you decide to change your discipline?
Actually, some of the previous questions was a little bit similar, but I can reply once more for sure. There are many different things that in your personal career you make a decision to change the direction. There are many different reasons. Sometimes you just got bored. Sometimes you have a better chance in another spot. Sometimes you love what you are doing, but you are not happy with the people you are working with, blah, blah. You know, it's a huge, long path you will walk through in design. In university, it's just 4 or 5 years, something like that. And you know what will come. You know what kind of lessons in the next session you will have, okay? You can't foresee that. But in career, you can't foresee nothing. So, but you just need to plan something, and then you need to improve yourself accordingly. It's like creating some targets and trying to go through that. Sometimes it works, sometimes not, but this is my always personal preference that I have some targets, I try to reach there. And in my personal career, you know, for example, there are some designers that has worked in the same company for 25, 30 years. This is another preference, and there is nothing wrong with it. But for my preferences, for my character, I sometimes need challenge. I sometimes need to start learning something. You know, after you have worked, let me share something sincere with you. You know, when I first switched from Arcelik group to BSH group, I said, okay, I'm done. I came to the best out of it, okay? But then I started working over there. I understood that there are still some pros and cons. Even if you think you are working in one of the largest companies in this business field, you confront with the realities that you enter to some meetings with hundreds of people, and there is no coordination and no decision maker clarification. You just discuss because you love democracy and discussing. And that is, sometimes I understood that, you know, whatever you expect is good, but you need another challenge. You just find yourself looking for another challenge. So many different reasons, but one of the reasons is like that I reached my target in white goods appliances sector. I reached my target, and then the target was in my pocket, and I needed to create another target. And that's why I jumped up. And yeah, as I said, glassware is a design challenge. It's a real design challenge. You know, you have very tricky material. You design something, and it doesn't like, the material doesn't like your design sometimes, and it doesn't take this shape. You have no chance to make it different. So it's a tricky place, and but I think it was time for me to embrace with the challenge. And this challenge was also like there's a huge team here that I think, I mean, whatever, when I first interviewed for this position in Şişecam, I understood that what I experienced was very well fitting what they need in Şişecam.
Yes.
So in a different business field, yes, but it was a good fit, I believe. That was one of the reasons. Sometimes you confront it with the interview. Sometimes in the interview you confront with the reality that you don't like it, by the way. So I'm happy to shift.
Thank you, Hocam. Also, for example, you said glassware is a totally different thing, but you're happy with it. So do you think glassware design as a period in your career, or is it like the final destination that you want to reach in terms of glassware, for example?
There is no final destination, I think. But we are in professional life. There is no final destination. But whenever I prepare my, presentation about my career path, I see that there is some changes in, and not very fast, not in 1 month. And I always see patience because there is a period that I didn't talk here. This was the period that Gülay Hocam knows very well. When I first got, first finished universities, I was hoping to work as an academician for a while, but it didn't work. There is no enough position, not an open position, blah, blah. But then I was very happy that I entered masters. And then one day, Gülay Hocam approached to me and said that there is an opportunity that Arçelik is looking for some part-time designers, and you are here, and I want to give my reference to you. I said, okay, that's very kind of you. Thank you very much. And I shared my portfolio with Ümit Altun. And then at the end of the story, I started working in Bolu. University is in Ankara, and I started working in Bolu. And more than 1.5 years, more than 18 months, every week I traveled to Bolu, worked there 3 days, came back, took my lessons, and again I traveled back to Bolu every week, every Monday and every Thursday. Monday night after school, I was going to Bolu, and then in Thursday night, I was coming back. So, and it was not that easy. I worked a lot. I even overworked a lot as a part-time designer. It was weird, but I did. Because maybe now when I look back, I say that I love challenge, and I love, I don't bother if I work hard. I just have some targets. I want to create something, and I need to make it in the best way out of it. So sometimes it takes a lot of effort and patience. And that is, I think, one of the key points that you need to consider every time. If you want to be successful, or, in your mind successful, not in everyone's eyes maybe, but working hard is inevitable, I guess.
Thank you, Hocam.
So, thank you, Gülay Hocam. It was very interesting.
Thank you.
Any questions? Nope.
No.
Okay.
Okay, then thank you, Değer.
Thank you.
It was really valuable. I hope next time you will be here and we can do it face to face.
Oh, yeah.
In your Bolu years, online education didn't exist.
Unfortunately, if it was, or even online working, remote working could.
Remote working
Was
also didn't exist.
yeah.
Yeah. It's another challenge actually.
Yeah.
To manage all these, remote processes. Thank you very much. Arkadaşlar, we can close the session. If you don't have any more questions or anything, you can write to us as well if you have questions about the assignments. We can reply through the forum, through ODTÜ class. So feel free to ask. Okay.
Okay then. Thank you very much inviting me. It was very lovely, and hopefully next time maybe we see each other face to face. It's always energizing to talk with young designers. So I hope the best for you all. Dear my meslektaşın İngilizcesi neydi? Hatırlamıyorum.
Coworker. Colleague.
Colleague, but colleague is like your
Ya, yani yok galiba değil mi?
Yok galiba değil mi? Sevgili meslektaşlarım,
Meslektaş.
hepinize başarılar. Bir
Çok
gün illaki
teşekkür
yolumuz
ederim.
kesişir. Türkiye küçük bir yer. Türkiye tasarım camiası küçük. Ama
Evet.
bir şekilde yolumuz kesişmezse de size başarılar diliyorum.
Teşekkür ederiz hocam.
Teşekkür
Sağ olun.
ederiz.
Görüşmek
Hocam.
üzere.
Bye bye.